Deliverance by Premchand is a direct criticism on the caste system in India. Once, a very noble system degraded because of human greed and politics. The result is bifurcation of people based on greatness and position in the society. Dukhi, who absolutely worships the Brahmins and fears them, finds death in a Brahmin's house, whereas the people he worships treat him like a person who committed sin. Pandit Ghasiram leaves his wife as an prideful Brahmin and doesn't fetter even with the death of Dukhi. He neither touches the body nor feels sad for someone who is dedicated to serve. Priest's wife is the same, and so are other Brahmins in the village. Chikuri, an archetype of socially aware individual, tries to put the Brahmin family under trouble through police. He opts to help the tanner, but nothing works. He is as stuck in the vicious web of the caste system as others. The title Sadgati or deliverance is justified as Dukhi gets salvation from the notorious caste system. His life as a tanner was equivalent to being a prisoner. He had to beg even for fire, and he will be cursed at for such a trivial matter. In the end, one feels happy for Duki for the obtained deliverance from the worldly struggles. However, many questions are unanswered and left for the imagination of the reader. Munshi Premchand is the pen name of the famous Hindu Urdu writer Dhanpat Rai Srivastava. Considered as the emperor of Indian novelists, he has written more than 12 novels and hundreds of short stories. Deliverance by Premchand is among those short stories originally written in Hindi and translated to English. The original title of Deliverance is Sadgati, which means salvation or deliverance from the worldly and attaining the transcendental state where there is no rebirth. The short story Deliverance by Premchand is a criticism on the Hindu society where the caste system rules the society above all rules. The title may portray a positive movement within the story, but the protagonist finds everything in life difficult and his ending is not transcendental at all. Coming to the story, Duki is a tanner who is looking to set a date for his daughter's engagement. He and his wife, Juria, clean the house, plaster it with cow dung to ensure the priest would find it comfortable. They find themselves in a tangle when they realize there is no cot for the priest to sit. Juria offers to get them from Thakurs of the Khaista caste. Duki gets infuriated by the impossible thought and chides his wife for even thinking about Thakurs offering them anything. In the end, they decide to clean their own cot but have doubts about the priest sitting on it. To compensate for the cot, Duki thinks of making leaf plat from the leaves of mahua. These leaves are considered pure. As Duki was about to make a plate, Juria offers to make the plate. She asks him to go the Pandit at once and reminds him about offerings presented to the priest when he visits. When she asks about placing the offerings in a plate, Duki says a leaf plate would be better. He wants Juria to not touch anything. He asks to take either the Gond's daughter or Bujin to buy the offerings. Dukhi reiterates his words and says to not touch anything. He specifies the offerings: one seer flour, half seer rice, a quarter of lentils, ghee, salt, turmeric, and a 4 anna coin. Dukhi picks up a bundle of grass as a present to the priest Pandit Gasiram. He thinks highly of the priest and considers him as people of God. Dukhi waits for the arrival of Gasiram, who follows a strict time for rituals or prayers. As the priest enters outside, Dukhi immediately stands up, lies down flat on his chest, stands up and folds his hands in reverence. The priest inquires about the presence of the tanner. The tanner explains why he had to visit, and the priest says he would come by the evening to fix a date for engagement. Dukhi asks about placing the grass bundle. Pandit says to keep it near the cow and gives him a rest till evening. Ghasiram asks Dukhi to sweep the floor, plastering the sitting room, bring 4 snacks of straw from a field and chop wooden log. He immediately resorts to work and completes sweeping and plastering. It was already noon, and Duki, who ate nothing since morning, was hungry. However, he could not go to his home as his absence would madden the priest. So he starts working again and tries to chop the log. The log, having a thick knot, refuses to break despite severe effort by Duki. He becomes annoyed, sweat drenches his body, axe would slip and his breath would go out of grasp, yet the log does not part. Duke feels that having tobacco would regain strength. He asks Gon for tobacco and tries to obtain fire from the house of the Pandit. Without thinking of the consequences, he rushes into the house of Ghasiram and asks for fire. The priest's wife gets furious with the presence of a tanner in the house. Duki realizes his mistakes. How can a charmer enter a Brahmin's house? After chiding and cursing, priest's wife throws burning wood near Duki. He sincerely apologizes for his unholy act. A splinter from the burning wood falls on his head and he shakes it off. Duki feels that it was the punishment he deserved for entering a Brahmin's house. His respect towards Brahmins increases with this act of God. After a while, the priest's wife observes that Duki is working hard to pierce the log. She asks her husband about giving any food. He says that he would eat rotis made out of a seer of flour. Astonished, she doesn't want to give Duki any food. Despite his hunger, Duki starts to axe the log. It does not break. Eventually, Chukuri comes to the house and he offers help. However, he too cannot break the wood and explains about the knot. Chukuri inquires about food. Duki says he cannot digest the food of Brahmins. Chukuri is upset with the fact that he is working hard and has not been given food. Duki calms him down as he is afraid Ghasiram might overhear their conversation. Chikuri leaves and Duki goes to bring the sacks of straw as he was unable to break the wood. He brings the sacks in 2 efforts and falls asleep tired. Pandit wakes up to find Duki sleeping near the straw and the wood uncut. He shouts at the tanner for not taking care of the wood. Duki wakes up and grabs the axe to make a final effort. In the presence of the Pandit, he could not feel anything and starts to hit the wood. The tanner was afraid that if the priest is angered, he might set an inauspicious day for engagement. As if some mysterious force was driving him, he gave all his strength to the axe. For half an hour, he repeatedly struck the wood. He felt the words of Brahmin were giving him power. Finally, the knot breaks and the axe falls from the hands of Duki. Duki too falls down out of exertion and becomes unconscious. Pandit Gausiram tries to wake him through voice, but the tanner remains unmoved. Not intending to trouble the tanner, Pandit goes back into the house to get dressed to go to the tanner's house. Even after coming back ready, Duki still lies unconscious. He observes that the tanner's body has gone stiff and tells his wife that he might be dead. Pandit frantically asks his wife about dealing with the dead body of Duki. She says to inform the tanners and they will take care of the rest. In no time, the news spread and Brahmins of the village decide to stop using the road that led to the well. The road is connected to the Pandit's house and they feel that it is a sin to witness the dead body of a tanner. The Gone friend Chikuri warns the tanner caused to not touch the body of Duki. He emphasizes that Duki has been killed by the Brahmin and it is a police matter now. Ghasiram tries to pursue the tanners to lift the body. No one dares to touch Duki. However, Duki's wife and daughter approach the Pandit's house to cry and mourn over the death. They keep crying till midnight, and the Pandit's family find it difficult to sleep. But a Brahmin cannot touch the corpse of a Tena, it is against the laws laid in holy texts. Irritated by the helplessness of the situation, Ghasiram curses the women outside in front of his wife. He calls them she devils and vampires. The priest's wife tells that having a Turner's dead body in the house is not good. Duki's body began to stink in the morning. As no Turner came to take the corpse, Ghasiram decides to remove the body. Early morning, he makes a loop to tie around the feet so that he need not touch the corpse. After carefully tightening the loop, he drags the corpse out of the village into the fields. Pandit returns home, takes a bath, recites prayer, and sprinkles Ganga's water in the house for purification. Meanwhile, Duki, who had great reverence towards Brahmin, gets eaten by wild animals and birds.